Now that we've been living with this bathroom for last few days, I'm going to go over a couple of things which worked and things which maybe didn't work. So the first thing you see is this very large poster. This is actually the medicine cabinet, and you might remember that it was actually a blue plastic laminate, kind of a blue-gray plastic laminate. So it's a door that opens up, the medicine cabinet is behind it, and then what you see now, the shiny part, is actually epoxy resin, and it's called epoxy, and you just obviously put the door flat, you spread it out and let it dry, and it gives you that glossy finish, which is great for a wet bathroom. Another thing that worked is the trim around the mirror. It's just MDF prime trim, which I painted up to match the vanity base, and it just works to finish off the mirror where before it had this unfinished edge. The square LEDs work really well. They do dim a bit, so we can dim them down and get them back up to the highest setting. So I was worried that they wouldn't provide enough light, but I went and made sure that these were 700 lumen LEDs, and when you match LEDs to incandescents these days, you don't match them based on wattage. These are replacing a 100 watt bulb, but the wattage of these is only about 11 watts, so you need to look for what the output was of your original bulb and then match the lumens, which is the light output of the LED. I think I've said enough about the fan. It works, and it's great to have a working fan in the bathroom. The baseboard went in really quickly. It just finishes off the space. It's not really much of a profile, but I did paint it out the same color as the wall. What I wanted to do is have less of a visual impact for the baseboard, just to finish off between the floor and the wall. Now, speaking of the floor, the composite tiles, they work really well once they're actually in. They're nice. They feel a lot warmer than the ceramics that were here before. You might remember the electric blue ceramics. These tiles weren't as easy to put in as I was led to believe. In fact, I had to use the F-bomb to get them in a couple of times because they click together, and once they're clicked together in one dimension, they're very, very hard to push into place in the other dimension. So the first row along the bathtub went in fairly easily, but the second row, because you can see it has to click along this dimension here, and then it'd have to click along that one. So once you get it in along the long dimension, it's very hard to push it and click it into this perpendicular seam, but you know, managed to get it to work even in such a small area. Nothing that worked was cutting the bottom off of the vanity and putting in these little feet, which I just put together from some scrap wood I had. It allows the floor to run continuously underneath and just makes the vanity float. Oh, and by the way, painting it dark allows the vanity to kind of disappear a little bit, which is nice, because before, if you remember, the vanity was gray and it really stood out. So now, it being darker, you don't really see the vanity much, and the doors, you see this kind of interesting shape, which now I kind of like. I actually hated it before because it was really, really 70s, but now I actually do like it. The faucet works really well. I think I've talked a little bit about the faucet in the sink situation, but this was actually on sale. It was under $100 for both the faucet itself, the fixture, as well as the pop-down strainer. And the white paint in the shower has worked very well. It's incredible how much brighter it is in here than before, and you know, the light again replaced it with an LED of about the same amount of output, but the white really makes it stand out. And the final piece is the toilet, and this is the Kohler Santa Rosa. And actually, when you buy these, you have to be sure that you buy one from a retailer that gives you the soft close seat. I've noticed online some retailers don't give you the soft close seat, and you're left with the very, very cheap version, which isn't even soft close. It flushes well. You know, if you've ever heard a low flow toilet, they're a bit louder, but you know, it does seem to work. We haven't clogged it yet, cross fingers, and so that's basically a thumbs up for the toilet.
And finally, back to the budget. So we see that there are a few things that I didn't use. This clear sealer is one of them, but everything else pretty much is used in the project, including things like the fan, which was unforeseen, and the ductwork as well. I did need another can of paint, wall paint, because I ran out. And as well, I needed a can of paint for the trim. I thought I could use one I had around the house, but it didn't work, so I had to go out to the Home Depot and buy a can of paint. So you see the total is about just over $1,100. And again, I should have called this a $1,200 bathroom reno, but we didn't quite get it in under $1,000. Mostly that's because, you know, the amount of stuff we put in it. We put in new flooring, a new toilet, new fixture, and a few other things. Now, one thing you don't see here in this total is the amount of labor. I worked on this pretty much every day for about 2.5 weeks. And so you could do your own math, kind of, you know, say 7 hours a day times that number of days, kind of like 20 days. And really, that is something which, if you had your own contractor, they would definitely add that into the budget. So I don't want anyone to see that this is, you know, around $1,000 and you'll be able to get the same results for $1,000 if you hire someone. However, if you do it yourself, it's a lot of the stuff in here is stuff that you could learn from YouTube. And that's the beauty of YouTube, is you can, if you're handy, find out how to do certain things. Now, there are things which you should really, unless you know what you're doing, bring in an expert. You know, plumbing could be one of them. Electrical, definitely. If you're not extremely careful and comfortable with electrical, I do suggest you bring in a professional on that. But other than that, there are a lot of things with paint that you could do yourself, laying the flooring, and maybe even some of the other things, including the drywall. Thanks everyone for watching, and please do let me know what you think.